I used to breastfeed the owner's baby, and the owner would stand right above my head, watching me, and I would feel extremely embarrassed. But I never said anything to him, because I was receiving 25,000 rupees a month, and I didn't want to lose that amount. But everything changed that night. The owner's baby got a fever, so he gave him medicine and told me, "Stay here tonight." I agreed, not knowing that this night would turn my life upside down. My husband's salary was very low, barely enough for our daily food, and I had just given birth to a baby who was only 1 month old. I could not leave him and go out for work. But one day, my neighbor told me something strange that made me think deeply. She said she knew wealthy people who were looking for a woman to breastfeed their baby. She said, "They are very rich, they love their son a lot, and they will pay you an excellent salary." I told her, "My husband will never allow it," she replied. "Come with me first and talk to them. If the money is a lot, your husband won't be able to refuse. You need the money. They will give you good food, and even your own baby will benefit if you are nourished." I thought about it a lot. What she said made sense. My husband's salary was weak. I was suffering from bad nutrition. My child was frail. And for my child, I was ready to endure anything. Yes, breastfeeding another woman's child is not easy, but my heart was full of mercy, and I told myself, maybe Allah will put blessings in this for my own child too. The next day, I held my baby in my arms and went with my neighbor to the mansion of those rich people. The house was big and luxurious. I entered the salon and saw the lady of the mansion sitting on a couch, one leg over the other, looking at me from head to toe with confusion and contempt. Her baby was crying desperately in the arms of a maid who was trying to feed him formula, but he refused completely. That lady said coldly, "I don't know what is going on in my husband's mind. These days, all children drink milk from bottles and grow up healthy, but he insists on his opinion." Then she added, "It's not my choice. My husband is inside. When he comes out, talk to him. I'm going shopping." She shouted to the driver, "Prepare the car." I looked at her in shock. What kind of mother was she? I thought she must be sick or unable, but she was perfectly healthy, strong, and capable. She could hold her baby and give him the tenderness of a mother. But she was one of those modern mothers who hand their children to servants and go to markets, instead of embracing their own baby. I sighed deeply. How strange life is. Here I was, a woman who didn't even have enough money to eat nutritious food to make my own baby strong, while this woman had everything, yet deprived her child of his mother's tenderness. The lady left, and after a few minutes, her husband came out. He called my neighbor and asked, "Is this the woman you talked about?" She said, "Yes, this is her." He examined me, then looked at the baby in my arms, and said mockingly, "She herself looks like she needs good nutrition. How will she feed my child?" I felt humiliated, but I held on to my dignity and said, "Provision is in the hands of Allah. If Allah makes the milk in my chest a source of nourishment for your child, He is capable of giving me strength too." He looked at me with surprise mixed with admiration. Then he said, "My son is very sick because he is not used to formula milk, and my wife refuses to breastfeed him. I cannot risk his health." I asked him, "How much will you pay me?" He said, "How much do you want? I don't care about the money as long as my son becomes healthy." Then he added, "I will pay you 40,000 rupees a month." My eyes widened in shock. The amount was more than I expected. It would be enough for me, my husband, and my baby for many months. When I told my husband, he was silent at first, but after my insistence and my tears, he finally agreed. The next day, I went to the mansion. The owner was home and handed me his baby, saying, "Today you'll stay here all day. You can leave after 10 p.m. I had brought my own baby with me. I entered the baby's room with one of the maids. The child was crying from hunger. I pulled him gently to my chest until he calmed down and fell asleep in my arms. But when I looked at my own baby, I saw confusion and hurt in his eyes. He stretched his little hands toward me, wanting me to hold him, but another child was in my arms. My heart split in two, half with this infant and half with my own child. When the owner's baby slept, my son tried again and again to come close to me. I moved him away gently, smiling through tears, afraid he would cry. I brought him some toys and placed him beside me. He got busy with them for a while, and I breathed in relief. The owner's baby was on the bed, with the AC cooling the room. My own son felt sleepy too, but there was no place for him on the bed. It wasn't ours. So I spread a cloth on the floor and sat beside him until he slept. After a while, a maid entered with a glass of milk. She handed it to me and said, "The master says drink this. I'll bring you fruits too. You must eat all of it." I looked at her in surprise. "All this for me?" She said, "Yes. The master says if you eat well and drink well, then his son will be healthy too." I took the cup with trembling hands and drank slowly. It was the first time in a whole year that I drank a full glass of milk. At home, I only had 2 pinches of milk powder to put in tea. Tears filled my eyes, maybe because I realized how life changes a person's fate. Yesterday, I was longing for a piece of bread, and today I had everything delicious only because I was breastfeeding the owner's child. After 4 or 5 days, my health improved. But something else began to worry me. The owner would enter the room repeatedly under the excuse of checking on his baby, but he would stare at me for long moments that made me uncomfortable. I would lower my gaze and quickly place the baby in his cradle. It happened so often that I couldn't bear it anymore. One day, I said firmly, "Sir, I am not comfortable with you entering the room every time. What is the need for this?" His expression changed. Anger appeared on his forehead. He said, "Shall I tell you the truth?" I said, "Go ahead." He said, "I give you all this food and drink to make you strong, so my son benefits from your milk. But I keep thinking that maybe you love your own child more than mine, and feed him more. I don't want to pay all this money, and then my son doesn't get what he deserves." His words froze my blood. He was doubting my honesty. I raised my head and said with wounded dignity, "Sir, I am poor, yes, but I am not a traitor. I know the meaning of loyalty to bread and salt. If you doubt me, find someone else." I took my baby and walked out immediately. He called after me, but I didn't look back. My heart burned from the insult. I was poor but not dishonorable. I had given his child what was truly my own child's right, and cared for him more than my own, and he rewarded me with suspicion. That night, a calamity struck me that I never imagined. My husband didn't return home even after midnight. I worried a lot. Then the phone rang. A strange voice told me my husband had been in a terrible accident. I ran to the hospital, trembling. When I arrived, the doctor told me my husband had passed away. I collapsed. I looked at my infant son, then at my husband's body, and broke down in tears. I didn't know how I would live or how I would feed my baby. The house filled with people, the funeral was held, and he was buried as a mourning. That night felt longer than a lifetime. My baby slept innocently, unaware his father had left this world. The next day, as I sat in shock, I heard a luxury car stop outside our small house. Children ran around it in amazement. I opened the door and found the mansion owner standing there. I couldn't believe my eyes. He stepped forward, ignoring the crowd, and expressed sympathy. "I heard what happened. May Allah have mercy on your husband." Then he added, "My son hasn't stopped crying since yesterday. He misses your embrace. He's used to you now. Please come back. I regret my words. I was only afraid for my son." He placed some money in my hand and left. I stood there holding the money, feeling a fire in my heart. My husband was gone. The house had no food. Debt was haunting me. Was this money a blessing from Allah or a new test for my dignity? News spread that the owner's son was very sick and wouldn't calm down except with me. I pitied him. He was an innocent child. But at the same time, I held my own baby tightly. How can a mother divide her heart between two children? The heart belongs to both. I called the owner and told him I was coming. He sent a luxury car to pick me up. I was exhausted and weak, but the moment I took the child in my arms, he calmed instantly and smiled, as if he returned to the safety he lost. The owner was very happy. My heart softened with mercy for the baby. After a few days, the owner told me, "If you find it suitable, stay here. I'll give you a private room. You have no one in this world after your husband's death. Staying here is better than being alone." His words didn't seem bad at first. He treated me with respect and cared for my baby too. Whatever he bought for his son, he bought the same for mine. His wife lived in another world, never cared for her child, always out shopping or attending parties. Motherhood meant nothing to her. I missed my husband terribly. My baby would cry whenever he heard the word father. One night, the owner's son suddenly fell ill. I wanted to return home, but the owner said, "Go back in the morning. My son only calms near you. Sleep in his room tonight." I had to stay. In the middle of the night, the baby woke up hungry. I fed him with tenderness until he slept peacefully in my arms. I was still sitting near him when I heard footsteps approaching. I raised my head in fear, and the owner entered. I quickly moved the sleeping child away from my chest. He sat in front of me, staring for a long time, then said in a low voice, "Listen carefully. I always dreamed of a woman who is not just a wife, but a real mother, someone who cares for the house, the children, someone who is my support in life. But the woman I married is none of that. That is why I want to marry you." I froze. My voice trembled. "What are you saying, sir? That is impossible. I still love my husband. His soul hasn't even rested yet. How can I marry someone else?" I stood and went to my small room, tears filling my eyes. He said while looking after me, "The decision is yours. I won't force you. But think, you are the one who can bring life back into this house." I spent the night torn between my conscience, my need, and my child's future. In the end, I looked at my sleeping baby and understood. I no longer lived for myself alone. In the morning, I agreed. As soon as I told him, he immediately divorced his first wife. She screamed and cried, but she never loved him. She only loved his money. He took back everything he had given her, and she left with nothing. Then he married me. I was hesitant and afraid of my decision, but slowly I saw genuine kindness in him. He treated my son like his own. He loved me sincerely, and his baby finally found the motherly warmth he had been deprived of. I looked up at the sky and said, Alhamdulillah, He brings mercy out of pain and light from the heart of darkness. Allah wrote a destiny for me that I never imagined. Both children, my child and the owner's child, slept in my arms, and for the first time, I felt that I truly had become a mother and the lady of a home, not a servant in a stranger's house. Did you like the story? If yes, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next story. Goodbye, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.